Hello internet world, welcome to a new video on the Geekanoids channel. This is indeed a viewer requested video. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video, so if you want to grab your favourite beverage, sit back and relax and enjoy. This is in response to a lot of you asking how I actually store my files, how I use my computer, where my files go, how I edit video, how I archive my files and how I back up my files. And archiving and backup, I think, is a little bit different in my use case scenario and probably in yours as well. I'm going to talk you through the equipment I use. Let's start actually at the computer end of things. And before I launch into this video, I do want to just remind you that this is a live broadcast. This was requested by quite a lot of you. So if you've got any questions throughout this video, if you want clarification on anything, then please do use the live chat because this is live. If you're watching after the live broadcast and you've got any questions about how I store my files, how I back up, the equipment I use, then please do also use the comment section below. And also the main pieces of storage that I use, I have linked to down in the video description area. A big good morning to Golden Solution, Alexandros and S. Baggins. Thank you very much for tuning in live. So here we go. Let's move on to how I store and back up my files, and in my opinion, some of the best file storage solutions. So we start at the computer. My main computer here, a Mac Pro. It's got it's a 2013, late 2013 Mac Pro, the trash can Mac Pro, and it's got a 512 gigabyte solid state drive in it. The other main computer I use is running the chat at the moment. This is my 13-inch MacBook Pro. Again, it's got a 512 gigabyte solid state drive in it. Now, from my experience, from my many years of experience, oh, one more thing. iMac sitting in the corner here, also 512 gigabytes of internal solid state storage. Now, I digress slightly there. From experience, all of these machines have got 512 gigabytes of solid state storage inside. Many years ago, I think it was a 24-inch iMac I was using, and I would edit videos and store files on the internal drive. That iMac developed a fault, and not only did I lose some files, but it also meant the projects I was working on at the time I could no longer work on a new machine. And from that day forwards, the internal drives, so the internal drives on my Mac Pro, my MacBook Pro and the iMac, the internal drives only have very small document files on, which I back up regularly, and they have all of the operating system and the software applications or programs I use. They don't have any working project files on them at all. Everything I work on, all of my project files, things that I'm currently editing, videos, photos, longer documents I'm working on, all reside on external drives. Now that does add to the cost, but because everything's on external drives, if a computer goes wrong, I can continue working on those files using another computer. Be that this computer, the Mac Pro or the iMac, I can just connect that external drive in, or indeed if I've had to get a replacement computer, or if I've chosen at some stage to do an upgrade on a computer and buy a new laptop, all of my project files are there ready to work on. All I have to worry about when I get a new computer, for example, is installing the applications that I use. So moving on to the Mac Pro. Let's have a look at the Mac Pro. So 512 gigabytes of internal storage is running on this ultra wide screen. I've got all of my applications, things like Final Cut Pro 10, Adobe Photoshop and other applications as well. And they're all installed on the internal drive. And then externally connected to this, I have two drives over the back here. One of them is a LaCie RAID. I think it's a 2 big RAID. That's got, I think, from memory, 12 terabytes of storage in it. This is actually designed, it's not mirrored, it's striped, so it works at its fastest capacity, which means I can edit video on it. And then every single day, at the end of the day, this drive is mirrored onto my Western Digital MacBook Pro. And that way, if one of those units completely fails, then I can continue working on the backup. And at the very worst case scenario, I've lost 1 day's work. And then I've also got another spare one of these LaCie 2 big RAIDs. So if this did fail, I would continue working on the Western Digital, and then I would swap out and put in the spare one that I've got, and then back up again, start the backups going again. So while this one was being repaired or replaced, I've then got those mirrored backups yet again. So that's the Mac Pro. Also, in addition to having those backups, the Mac Pro is cloned every day onto an external hard drive. Every week it's cloned onto another external hard drive, and that is stored off-site. And then I've also got a further clone of my video work, so the project files I'm working on and the completed files. Now I'll talk to you about archiving all of the footage and archiving my finished files a little bit later on. I just wanted to deal with each computer in turn. Now with the iMac, it's a very similar scenario. So the iMac, 512 gigabytes of internal solid state storage, and that just contains all of the applications that I use. It contains some small documents, so maybe some Pages documents, but all of my templates for Pages, for example, so where I'm doing invoicing or quotes for companies, all of those are stored in the cloud as well. I use iCloud for very simple file and document backups. But this is also connected to external drives. So I've got 2 external drives sitting here. They're G Technology. The first one is a G Technology G-RAID drive. It's 16 terabytes in total. And then the top one is a single drive, which is 10 terabytes. Now again, this is striped, it's not mirrored. So it's of optimal performance, and that's connected to the iMac, and any video editing that I do on the iMac draws off of the content files on here, or my sort of digital files that I've captured with my camera. It draws off of that and I edit from this drive. When I export from here, I've got a little SSD RAID here, which I made myself. It was 2 1 terabyte solid state drives, and it's in a little StarTech enclosure. And when I export my finished movies or my finished videos to this RAID drive. Again, it's not mirrored, it's in a striped format, so optimal performance. And then at the end of each day, with regards to the iMac work that I'm doing, my files from this drive, my working files, are mirrored to this drive here. So if this went down, I could continue working from here, get this swapped out under warranty or replaced, and then the mirroring or backup scenario is replicated again. Now, finished movies. Oh, one more thing. The MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro, mainly I use this for comments. I don't do a lot of content creation on here, but if I create files and documents, they're stored locally and also on iCloud. And if I want to edit on here, then I connect it in to the G Technology drives. I just pull the cable, connect it into the MacBook Pro, and then I'm good to go. In the future, I'm going to be setting up my eGPU in this area here, and I will probably get a second set, or third set I should say, of storage just dedicated to the MacBook Pro. Now let's talk about finished files and also cloud backup. So don't forget, I've got these backups where everything's mirrored, everything's cloned, even the iMac is cloned every day as well. So if the internal drive went down, I've still got a copy of the operating system and all my applications. But at the end of each day, I'm left with quite a lot of document files that I've created, maybe invoices and things like that. They need to be backed up somewhere else as well. So as well as the off-site backup that I mentioned earlier, which is stored in a security deposit box, which I do on a weekly basis, as well as that, I back up or archive all of my finished movie files. And I'm talking about things I upload to YouTube, or the videos that I create for my commercial business-to-business clients. And they're all archived onto a Synology NAS drive, or a network attached storage drive. This one has got redundancy built in, so it's got multiple drives within the NAS, and it writes to one drive, and it's a hybrid RAID, so we've got redundancy across multiple drives, so if 1 or 2 drives fail in that NAS, I've still got all of my finished project files. So worst case scenario, if something happened to all of this, I would still have the finished projects that I could then re-edit if I needed to. So I've still got footage that I could re-edit. Now, in addition to the NAS drive, so we've got on-site backups, on-site clones, also off-site backups, and the archive on the NAS. In addition to that, the 2 computers that I use mainly, my Mac Pro and also my MacBook Pro, are indeed backed up to the cloud. And for that, I use Backblaze. It costs me around about £5 or £6 a month. I pay for the whole year up front just so I can pay it and forget about it. And it continually backs up any new files. It doesn't back up the whole system every single day, but it backs up any new files that are generated, including connected drives. So I think at the moment, because it's unlimited amount of storage, I've probably got about 25 to 30 terabytes of backed up files in the cloud as well. And in addition to that, I mentioned iCloud. I work within the Apple ecosystem at the moment, and I use iCloud for any little documents and template files that I just want that additional security that they're somewhere else as well. So if I did lose something, or I mucked up and deleted something by accident, then I've got that additional cloud backup as well. So I hope that's helped. I know a lot of you are asking this. We've got Null Zero just come into the live chat. Hi Dave, nice setup. Reviewing the smart information for each drive can be a good way to help you catch seek errors and bad sectors before a drive fails. Very, very good tip. Moving on to that, or sort of, that's a really good segue into something else I should mention, is it's definitely a good idea, as Null Zero says, to check your hard drives regularly. There's also hard drives that have extra sort of safety features built in. And in my NAS drive, I use Seagate IronWolf Pro drives, and they've got really good check-in, and you can actually set the Synology NAS to instigate that check-in automatically on a schedule, so it checks it at regular intervals, and it will warn you if you've got a drive that looks as though it's failing or has got bad sectors. So if you are installing a NAS, it's a really good idea to invest in very good hard drives for it. And the Seagate IronWolf Pro I've linked to down in the video description as well as some of the other products I use are down there, so please do check that out. That is it for this video. If you've got any more questions, comments, suggestions, let me know what you do for your backup scenario. Let me know how you back up your files, how you store your work on your computer. I'd be really interested to hear that. Drop that all down in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out those links down in the video description, and if you enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you in another video very soon.